going to introduce you to Nagme and Tazish, who will be presenting this session. And my observation and why one of the reasons we chose is because of the cross-institutional collaboration that we're really pleased to see, and we hope to see plenty more of. Over to you. I'll give you a 5-minute warning, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for being here. It's our pleasure to share our research with you. And at the beginning of the presentation, my colleague Tazish will provide background information to the topic, and he is the finance expert. So he will talk about using AI in finance, and then I will discuss how AI has been used in education, and we will have some food for thoughts about ethical considerations of using AI in education. And at the end, if there is any questions or comments, please feel free to share your thoughts with us.
Thank you, Nagme, and good morning, everybody. It's great to be in company of. It's not working. Is it working now? Yeah. Okay. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for attending the session. I'm really excited to be a part of. Some esteemed guests here, and I can see some familiar faces and there are some unfamiliar faces. So anyhow, all of you are welcome and welcome aboard. Today, as our presenter pointed out, we are collaborating together, Nagme and myself. So what's going to happen is I'm going to talk about some of the trends that are emerging in industry, and as part of academia, we need to keep abreast of those trends, and ultimately how AI is impacting industry, which we need to incorporate into pedagogical initiatives as well later on, right? So, first of all, when we talk about introduction of AI, it does not require any introduction anymore, right? Over the past couple of years, AI has been the talk of the town in academia and industry alike. It has claimed to be the biggest invention since Paleolithic Stone Age. More and more researchers, industry practitioners are delving into the details of how AI is impacting our life, right? We keep hearing about generative AI in academia, but I can tell you that AI has been, rapidly used in various institutions across industry. For example, the biggest example, which I will also talk about today a little more deeply, is the case of financial services. Then we have wholesale retail, manufacturing, healthcare, research, energy, entertainment, public safety, education. You just name it all. All industries have been profoundly impacted by AI. Now, if I give you a little bit of background of AI and finance, right, what has been going on the past 2 years? Ever since we started picking ourselves up from the pandemic, right, the big institutions have started splashing money in the capital expenditure of AI. So according to the study that was conducted by IMF in November 2023, financial sector spending on AI is projected to double to US $97 billion by 2027, which is rising at a 29% compound annual growth rate. Now, that's a huge capex that we're talking about, right? That probably before COVID, nobody would have thought of, right, spending that much money. Now, in terms of return realization, for every $1 companies invest in AI, they are realizing an average of $3.5 in return, according to the findings that were prepared by IMF in 2023. But now, right now, probably the rate has even gone further. There is this rat race going on of how companies are building up, investing money into AI in different ways. Now, when we talk about big companies such as Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, or you call them Magnificent Seven in our stock industry. Of course, right now they're having a tumultuous time, right? They're losing trillions every day, then gaining, then losing because of some weird policy going south of the border, but we're not going to go too much into that. You know what I'm talking about, right? Now, if we just come back to AI and finance, and we talk about a little bit of the Canadian side, how Canada is coping up with that. So the recent research carried out by Statistics Canada, it gives us some kind of insight of where we are heading. Although it's still a minuscule amount or the progress that we are making, but still something is moving. The needle is moving in that direction. So let's say 6.1% of all businesses made use of AI in producing goods and services. Like, so across industries, right, in the last year, 2024 stat, Canada came out that almost 6% of the businesses have started warming up to the idea of using more and more AI in products, services, and any other form of intermediary services that we are providing. Now, the industries that were likely to use or are using AI most, they include information and culture industry, 30%, professional, scientific, and technical services, 13.7%, and of course, finance, insurance as well, 10.9%. Now, these stats are telling us something that even though we are not having that much of capital, we don't have that much power in economy in comparison to United States, but we are realizing that if we have to make a headway, right, and improve our delivery of services and products, we got to upend our investment into AI as well in different industries. Now, what kind of applications are being mostly used by the industries here, right? The application that is mostly being used, they include natural language processing models that has been considered to be used by over 1/4 of businesses, followed by text and analytics, then virtual agent chatbots, data analytics, large language models, and image and pattern recognition. So all of them. Now, what is the purpose? The purpose is that we are relying more and more on machine, large language models. They are using information, converting the text, and presenting to us as humans so that we can make our decision in more efficient manner. Now, what I'm going to talk right now briefly is how AI can be used for financial literacy purposes. For example, as part of academia, what are the trends we should be looking forward to as we build up our curriculum, and as we look into our syllabus and learning outcomes? There are certain trends that are noticeable right now that we need to be adapting to. For example, these are the main areas of financial literacy that we need to incorporate into our learning going forward. We are talking about risk management, customer service and enhancement, trading and portfolio management, and compliance and security. So I'll go briefly one by one, and then we'll talk about it. So when we talk about risk management here, we are basically talking about how you are able to predict outcomes on historical data, right? Nowadays, we have a lot of machine language model software that are being used to build patterns. Analysts and other back testers, modelers are able to test the pattern and then communicate, okay, are we likely to have a scenario-based analysis? What is the best case scenario, worst case scenario, and of course, average scenario, better scenario to make accurate predictions. Now, what applications are we seeing in the industry these days? They include credit scoring, fraud detection, monitor real-time market conditions, right? All of these examples are being used more and more by financial players, industry players, to kind of preempt what could be possibly affecting them in the future. Then let's talk about banking industry. Banking is also having both commercial side and investment side. What are the main applications in banking industry we have? We have chatbots, virtual agents, predictive models, and they are trying to tailor personalized customer experiences. No longer, customers need the generic answer. They need the banking models are now personalizing, going into the history, whether financial history or non-financial history of each client, and they are presenting the tailored solutions in terms of the products that you are looking for. Now, what examples we have in Canada, for example, BMO Insurance is one of the first leaders in Canada to introduce AI-enabled solution that helps accelerate the field underwriting process. Here we're talking about mortgages, loans, right? Previously, we used to have lagging of approvals of mortgage applications, credit card applications, other banking products. Nowadays, AI-based models are able to provide you results instantly, and then point out any red flags or green flags, which candidates are better suited to have those products being offered. Similarly, CIBC has also gone on to participate in collaboration with Creative Destruction Lab. This is our Canadian initiative, right? It is a non-profit organization that has been created in order to have collaboration with industry leaders in banking, finance to come up with our own customized product offerings with the assistance of AI. So in the future, let's say you might see more and more banks joining and coming up with tailored products to suit needs of the clients. When we talk about AI uses and that helps the financial literacy, we're ultimately talking about trading and portfolio management as well. Well, nowadays, those of you who may have invested or you have seen somebody investing, we are having a roller coaster ride, right? Things are going up, going down, market crashing, going up, right, at the whims of certain individuals. So now, that's very hard to predict what goes inside the mind of the big players, but it's still, there are some trading models that are relying on artificial intelligence, large language models that are able to point out levels, right, the trigger point. And with that, investors are able to position their trades, portfolios, and they rebalance it accordingly. We have many softwares that are relying on machine learning that are giving you those right handles, the trading levels, to ultimately make right sound investment decision. Of course, not everybody is proficient, but most of those softwares are even helping, and providing beginner lessons to those who have no familiarity with trading and portfolio as well. So this has significantly improved over the past few years. 10 years ago, maybe, you had to learn a lot, right, in finance to start trading. Nowadays, it is much easier. We have Wealthsimple, we have retail traders. So institutional holdings, institutional hedge fund managers are not the only ones. Retailers are also joining the party and having better access through financial literacy. Then we can also talk about compliance and security, right? Cybersecurity, right, has taken a forefront in our discussion as financial regulation increase. And right now, as we are moving towards protectionism, right, bigger countries are vying for, punches, counter punches. So we need to protect our data, financial security, making sure that AI is also streamlined compliance, right? A few weeks ago, we had this chat leak in the United States, right? And ultimately what happened, everybody got to know, okay, what goes on in the circle of power corridors and how chats get leaked. So nowadays we have digital assets too, like Bitcoin. People are able to mine those digital assets. So now we need to have even more stronger compliance and security, right? Encryption systems that are able to protect the data of retail customers. Because remember, retailers are, some retailers may not have that proficiency in terms of encryption. So they need to have that guarantees that their data is safe and they are able to build up their portfolio, investment, and asset management systems, and they don't have any major issues in that. And of course, when we talk about ERP system, more and more companies are also relying on large ERP systems, and they are integrating the entire administrative functions, whether it's R&D, HR, administrative, accounting, finance, or even all the way to customer service. Everything is well connected. Now I'm going to pass over to my colleague who is going to apply the initiatives of AI in education as well as discuss the ethical considerations of that.
Thank you, Fazish. So now let's talk about the significance of our topic. When I looked at the literature on using AI in education, I realized a big gap. Of course, really interesting research has been done, and we have learned a lot about our colleagues who have investigated the use of AI in education. But there was a gap, and that gap was lack of recommendations for the ethical application of AI in education. And for those of us who use AI or who have seen as our students using AI, ethical considerations do matter. That's why we try to address this gap in the literature. And this study is informed by the sole declaration for safe, innovative, and inclusive AI. I have provided the link to this declaration. In the interest of time, I'm not going to talk about that in details, but if you are interested, you can send me an email or find me on LinkedIn, and I can share this with you. Building on the work laid out at the AI Safety Summit at the Bletchley Park in the UK in November 2023, the leaders recognized that AI safety, innovation, and inclusivity are interrelated goals, and that is important to encompass these priorities in international discussions on AI governance. When we look at using AI in education, the first thing that I noticed was using AI as a learning tool, and you can see lots and lots of applications that have been powered by AI, and I'm going to share some as an example. The first one is GPT and ChatGPT Edu, which is widely used as an educational tool. There is also another application called Kill, and this is a free literacy tool that builds reading comprehension, writing, and language skills for elementary, middle, and high school students. Another application which is AI-powered is called Phobies, and this is educators' personal AI assistant for lesson planning, designing, and organizational tasks, and sharing content with their students. These AI-powered tools aim to facilitate teaching and learning ESL, English as a second language, and also other subjects for students and teachers, and they create digital educational resources, teaching materials, lesson plans, proctor exams, and provide feedback on assignments. So we can see that they are really very useful if used by educators and students. Using AI-powered tools can also save time. So we use them as a time-efficient tool in order to provide an engaging learning experience for our students. Also, AI has been offered as a course, so AI literacy courses in both K-12 and in higher education contexts. And I want to share an example of AI in K-12 schools in China. Not just in China, but this is just a case study. Artificial intelligence education has become an important component of the after-school and 3.5 service in many places for Chinese education authorities and schools. And it's interesting to know that with the gradual development of AI in education in primary and secondary schools, issues including insufficient hardware equipment, curriculum resources, and prepared teachers have been emerged. And this calls for further investigation and providing further support for students and also teachers to use AI in their classes. And teacher guides have also been developed to assist teachers using AI in their classes. The third body of research on using AI in education points us to using AI as learning, teaching, and admin tools. And the research in this area, some studies focus on how students can use AI. Another body of research focuses on how teachers have used AI. And then third body of research have focused on how institutions have used AI in order to streamline their performance. Now I would like to raise two ethical concerns. I'm all for technology. I'm very excited that my students use AI. I mean, we can never stop students from using AI, but at the same time, I think we really should be aware of the ethical concerns and prepare ourselves to address those issues. And one of the concerns that I would like to raise is the gender bias content that is generated by artificial intelligence. And I'll give you an example. Okay, it is little wonder that when you ask ChatGPT what a CEO looks like, it gives a description that includes tailored suits, dress shirts, ties, formal shoes, and well-groomed hair, clean-shaven face, and in between hair. No mention of skirts, heels, or makeup that would be typically associated with women. An interesting example about secretary is that when asked what a secretary looks like, ChatGPT gives a description that includes blouses, skirts or slacks, dresses, blazers, closed-out shoes, well-groomed hair, minimal makeup, neat, clean appearance. While women now occupy CEO positions in some prominent firms, though few in numbers, AI systems like ChatGPT have yet to imagine a CEO in a skirt and a secretary with a trim beard, making them patriarchal. So the concern that I would like to raise is that using AI-generated gender-biased content in class can marginalize female and, by extension, gender and sexual minority students, perpetuating gender stereotypes in the broader society. Another consideration that I would like to raise is ChatGPT detectors bias against non-native English writers. And this is interesting because for those of us who teach multilingual classes, we might use AI power tools to check for academic, honesty of the work. And these detectors consistently misclassify non-native English writing samples as AI generated, whereas native writing samples as accurately identified. Furthermore, simple prompting strategies can not only mitigate this bias, but also effectively bypass GPT detectors, suggesting that GPT detectors may unintentionally marginalize or penalize writers with constrained linguistic expressions. So the recommendations is innovative application. That's while AI may be employed to design innovative assignments, learning activities, lesson plans, instructors need to actively evaluate their accuracy and difficulty level. Another recommendation is inclusive application. The students should have the opportunity to learn to use AI, not just those who can afford it. I'm gonna pass the next one quickly, but if you would like to discuss it more, I can stay after the presentation for further discussion. If AI literacy training cannot be provided, the students should have the right not to engage with AI without that negatively affecting their marks and reputation. Anti-discrimination application. Employing AI should promote cultural, linguistic, and gender diversity. AI-generated content, which include ethnic, linguistic, religious, sexual, gender stereotypes, and discriminatory and biased content against these groups should be definitely avoided. And safe application. Students' information such as profiles and assignments may not be collected and used for data training and commercial purposes without their direct benefit and consent. And last but not least, transparent application. Instructors need to inform students of using AI to mark and comment on assignments, and I think that's really important. Also, students should have the right to challenge AI-generated feedback. So if they are not happy with the feedback, they should have the right to raise their answer. Okay, thank you so much. And I don't know if we have time for questions and answers, but we are available after the session. So if you would like to talk with us, feel free. And this is my LinkedIn. If you would like to have my references or the presentation, you can feel free to send me a message. Thank you so much.